Hey everyone, this is Brian Pincala and this is my screencast for the server-side setup. After doing some research of my own and considering feedback from our course directors, I've made the decision to proceed with this course and utilize PHP as my server-side language of choice. Given that I have no prior experience dealing with server-side languages, it makes sense to start with PHP since there's so much support and documentation available to us not only online but also within the course directly. A small but immediate benefit to using PHP is the obvious one, and that is it's already installed on our MacBooks. So I can jump right into the enable and configure steps. For those of you who are also using PHP, you may or may not be following along with the lynda.com training. So if you are, some of these steps may look very familiar. So first I'll go ahead and open and go into terminal, and I can actually verify that PHP is in fact installed by typing in php/v for version. And we can see here that PHP is in fact installed, version 5.3.15, and it gives me some other details about PHP as well. So that's great. We can confirm here by seeing this that is in fact installed, which we really shouldn't have had any doubt that it would have been. So now that we've established that, we can move forward and enable Apache, so that way I can handle any PHP that I write. To start this, I will move to the Apache directory, by cd etc and apache2. That is the directory, so I'll move into that, and then I'll create a list so we can see everything inside of the directory. Now, based on all of the tutorials, screencasts, and everything that I've read and watched, I've learned that this file, this httpd.conf file, is the one that I need to edit in order to enable Apache to handle PHP. So in order to do that, I will just use sudo nano so that I can edit the file and then the actual file name. Okay, so now that the conf file is open, I can search specifically for PHP by using Control W. I learned that through the tutorial that it's very simple just to go ahead and use the command W, type in PHP, and we can get to what we need to get to within this conf file. So within this conf file, we can see several modules here, and among these modules is the PHP5 module that we can see here. This hashtag essentially comments out the load module, so it's preventing the module from loading when the Apache server starts. So what I'll do is I'll just simply remove that hashtag, just like that, and now that that's removed, after restarting the Apache server, it will be able to handle and run any PHP that I send it. So now that we're all set there, I can go ahead and do a Control X to exit out, and I can hit yes to save any changes, and then hit return to go back to the screen that I was on before. Now I can go ahead and reset Apache, so I'll use sudo apache control graceful. And there we go. The Apache server is now ready to go and can handle any PHP I want to run on it. So the next step in the process is actually something that I picked up along the way as well, and that is the ability to update PHP to a more recent version. As we saw just a moment ago, currently running 5.3, and obviously according to the PHP site there are more updated stable versions that we can use. So I came to the PHP site, go into documentation, and you can go into the English version, of course, unless you prefer another. And then I looked for installation on Mac OS X. And there are a few options here. The one we're looking for is being able to install using packages. There's a few different links here, but according to the tutorial I saw, I found that this is really the best way to really update PHP, as packages are here and they're easy to install, and we'll kind of take a look at why. This site actually provides you with one-line installations. So all you need to do, as you can see here, all you need to do is install the whole thing. All you need to do to install the whole thing is open up a shell and execute the following line. So I tried updating to 5.5 and I had some trouble. So I'll try to demonstrate updating to 5.4. And I'll go back and try to work on 5.5. But for the sake of the screencast, I'll use 5.4. So we'll just copy this line, and then we'll go into terminal. And all I have to do is paste that line within terminal and then hit enter or return. And it will go ahead and, after I enter my password here, it'll go ahead and install the update for us. So you can see here, according to these lines here, that it's actually installing 5.4, which is the version that I told it to update to based on the line of code that I pasted in. And as you can see, I've already got the package installed. So well, if you're installing this for the first time on your machine, you're going to see something a little bit different. It's going to be running and unpacking everything. But as you can see, I was able to successfully install this package using this single line of code without an issue. So I've effectively updated my version of PHP from 5.3 to 5.4. Another little tip I learned in order to verify that my update has taken effect, I'm going to utilize a trick that I learned from the lynda.com training. When I first started the video, I verified that I had PHP installed on my machine by typing in php-v in the command line here. And it's giving me validation that I do in fact have PHP installed, but it's showing me 5.3.15 is installed, even though just a moment ago I installed a new version. So a way to test this out is to just create a PHP document that runs the PHP info command in HTML. So to do this, we're going to change the directory to the sites folder. And you'll see here when I create a list that I actually already have a couple items in here, and one of which is my my_php info.php. So if we go ahead and run nano my_php info.php, and you'll see that I've got just a very basic line of code here, just running a function php info and then open and close parentheses semicolon. So what this is doing is it's just running it's running a function that's going to go ahead and populate or render some PHP information within the browser. Using that PHP document that I had put in my sites folder, I can access that and verify that my updates have taken place to PHP, and you can see that that's been confirmed here. I'm now using 5.4.16 instead of 5.3.15. So updating using that single line command was very, very handy and useful, and it just made updating my version of PHP extremely simple. And at this point I can go ahead and proceed with configuring PHP. So what I've learned is you can actually access the PHP configuration files, which are contained in this ini file, through this file path within terminal. So if I just come down here to loaded configuration file and I copy this file path, I can bring this into terminal and I can edit it using nano and paste in the file path, and it brings up PHP's configuration files. I've already made some changes to mine, but I have reverted a couple of the fields back to, well, actually I reverted two of them in two separate places, but I wanted to, for the sake of this screencast, I wanted to go ahead and demonstrate a couple of different places where things need to be edited. And one of them is going to be the time zone. So I'll go ahead and Control-W and search for time zone, and you can see here that the date.timezone is equal to Europe/Zurich. Now I'm in America, I'm not in Europe, so I want to make sure that I'm using the appropriate time zone. So what I can do is I can go to PHP's documentation and make sure that I'm using the correct location within the config files. So I'm actually in Indianapolis. So I'll go ahead and copy this as it is in PHP's documentation, and then I'll come back here to terminal and I will arrow down. I'll remove Europe/Zurich and paste in the location that I'm in. I will Control X. I will say yes to save and hit enter to return out. And then I will reset Apache. And that should be all set there. So if we go back to my PHP info page and I search for time zone, you can see that it's currently set to Europe/Zurich just as it was before. If I reload the page, it now shows me that I'm in the appropriate time zone since I've changed it. So among a couple of the other changes that you can make, or verification of things that you want to do, is specifically regarding things like error validation. So when you're writing your PHP, it's important that you're able to have something to help you figure out what's wrong with your code if you're experiencing a problem. And by going into the config file, you can ensure that you're going to have an opportunity to see those errors within your browser window. We can go ahead and do Control W and display _errors. This is not what I'm looking for, so I'll search again. And this is what I'm looking for here. I'm just ensuring that display errors, display _errors is equal to on, and that there is not a semicolon in front of this line. If there was a semicolon here, it would be commenting this out, and display errors would not be activated for you. So that is just a little bit of configuration that I did. One thing to note is that there is an additional additional INI files that are available that can play a role within your configuration, and it would be on this row here, scan this directory for additional INI files. So I'll copy that, go back into terminal, and I'll actually just open a new window. Oopsie. And I will go ahead and change directory, create a list, and in this 99-liip developer.ini file is where you're going to see additional configuration files. So if I nano copy and paste, actually you can see some different changes here. But what I've done is I've actually commented this line out. If I were to take this line, or this comment, the semicolon out, just like this, and then save, yes, enter, and restart Apache, restart it, pull up my time zones again, and I reset, or refresh, excuse me, you're going to see that this change that I made in this file is actually taking precedence, because this is the config file, but this row is saying scan this directory for additional files. So if there's information, just like there was for the time zone, they're going to take precedence here instead of here. So within Coda, you can see here I created just something very basic, just kind of a hello world example. I've got some HTML in here, and then I've got my PHP here. And what it's doing is I've basically just kind of instantiated a variable with a string hello world, and then I'm using echo for the variable. And then I'm also using the date _default _time zone _set, and I've got it set to Indianapolis, and I've also got the formatting set here. And when I go ahead and save this, actually I have it saved within my, I'll go ahead and save it now. I've got it saved under my sites folder. Bring that into view here, and this is my PHP info that I kind of demonstrated earlier, and then I've got my hello world.php here. So if I go to the browser, and I've got my URL keyed in here, localhost /bpencala /hello world.php, I get my result, which is just my string hello world, and then the date timestamp. So that's kind of my hello world example for the purpose of this screencast, and just kind of my choice in development environment, which will be Coda. So that's going to conclude my server-side setup video. Kind of took the long way around on how to achieve some things. I do have some other applications. I have MAMP. I just decided to kind of go through the long process of going through terminal. It was to kind of better my understanding of the process and get more familiar with everything, since this is my first entry into server-side scripting and server-side setup. So again, my name is Brian Pencala, and I have gone over the enabling activation of Apache and the update and configuration of PHP, and I've given a quick demonstration on how to use my development environment, Coda, to develop just a basic hello world example for PHP. I hope you found it helpful, and thank you very much for watching.